Hey everyone, it's Jillian. We're going to take a look at word problems. Now, I want to remind you about your mindset. You know that it is virtually impossible. Let's use some logic here for a moment. It is virtually impossible to do well at something if you keep telling yourself you're not good at it. So, don't even go there. Let me walk you through how to convert or how to translate from math to English and English to math, right? Our goal in these videos is to help you to become better at speaking the language of math and using it in your day-to-day life. Okay? I know it's true. No one's ever going to say to you on a job interview, can you please show me how to find the common denominator of, or, could you please solve for X and, could you tell me about the square root of 62? It's not going to happen. But all of these things are exercise for your brain, and your brain is a muscle. If you want to have strong arms or you want to have a tight tummy, you absolutely need to do exercises. You need to pay attention to what you eat. You need to sleep a reasonable amount, as much as your body needs, if you want to function properly, and you need to work out. This is the exact same thing. It's working out. You're exercising your brain. Okay? That's why the more you do this, the easier it will be to solve problems in your life. And guess what? You will have problems to solve as the years go by. So let me walk you through this, please, with a neutral or a positive mindset, at least neutral. Okay, so let's talk about a word problem. So first of all, I want you to think of, for each equation, you're going to have each sentence you're going to write an equation. When they give you a sentence or two or five, that means there's going to be one or two or five equations. Okay? Next, I want you to remember to use let statements. Sometimes you'll be drawing diagrams and labeling them. For some teachers, that will be enough. Some teachers will want a diagram and let statements. Speak to your teacher and find out that you're meeting their expectations. Okay, even if you are not asked to draw a diagram, you are going to find that if you do draw a diagram, if there's something to draw a diagram of, it will help you if you get stuck. So give it a go. So here, what's the question? The question is, here's a bunch of questions, and I'm doing question 6. One number is 3 less than a second number. One sentence, there's going to be an equation. Half the first number plus the second number is equal to the square of 6. That's another equation. Find the numbers. So we have how many numbers? 2. The first number and the second number. All right, let's take a look. So we've got here, we're going to let X be the first number and let Y be the second number. There's no diagram. This isn't so-and-so is squaring off a field for a farm. This is how much fence around the rectangular farm, where you would draw a rectangle and label it. There's no diagram for a question like this. But there are let statements. You're going to let X be whatever, and you'll let Y be the other thing. So I let X be the first number and let Y be the second number. If they would have said in the question, one is a larger number, one is a smaller number, I would have written, let X be the larger number, let Y be the smaller number, or let X be the smaller number and let Y be the larger number. I hope that makes sense. So now I'm going to take each sentence and make an equation. So the first sentence is, I'm going to read it to you again while you look at the equation. The first sentence is, one number is 3 less than a second number. So one number is 3 less than a second number. So one number is X, and the other number is that X number less 3. One number is 3 less than a second number. We label our equations 1 and 2, and we circle them. The reason I think we circle them, nobody told me this, I'm just making it up, but when you have equations, you don't want this to look like 31 if you put the 1 right here. You want to make sure that you are communicating that this is the equation 1 and this is equation 2. Now let's take a look at the language of the second number. Half the first number plus the second number is equal to the square of 6. You see, I'm literally chunking it down piece of sentence by piece of sentence and writing as I go. So now let's solve. So what did I do? First, what I did was I said, wait a minute, I'm going to take, you've learned to sub things in. So for example, you know that if y equals this, then I can go to this equation, and where I have a y, I can replace it with x minus 3. So that's what I did here. Let me write it out again for you. So what I did was I had 1/2 y plus x equals 6 squared rather, and then I said y is equal to x minus 3, so instead of the y I wrote x minus 3, and that's what I have. Okay, next I distribute out my x squared, my 1/2 into x and negative 3. I square out 6 is 36. Then what I do is I collect my x's on this side. I collect my x's on this side and I bring this over to this side. And then what I do is I decide I'm getting rid of the fractions, and I'm going to do that by multiplying both sides, every single thing here, by the lowest common denominator. So there's a 2 here and a 2 here. So if I multiply that by 2, I get this. If I multiply that by 2, I get this. That times 2 is this, and that times 2 is that, and now I've gotten rid of my fractions. So I'm going to collect these to 3x and to 75, and then divide 75 by 3 and get 25. So now that x is 25, have I answered my question? Well, the question was find the numbers. The numbers are x and y. So I found x. So I have not finished. And you'll notice what I did is I did the work, got to x, and then I reread the question to see, did I actually answer the question? It is so common where people, that I see that people get to here and then they just stop because they didn't go back and read the question. They're like, oh, I found something. Oh, that's done. Great. Next, and move on. You can't do that. If you're asked a question, you need to answer the whole question. So here we've got x equals 25, and I've written in math notation x equals 25. I'm going to sub it into equation 1. So I rewrite equation 1 down here. I sub in x is 25 minus 3, and I get what y is, and then I say, if my question is given in a sentence, which it was, then I'm going to answer it in a sentence. This is not creative writing. It doesn't need to be an amazing sentence full of twists and great punctuation and interesting vocabulary. You're just answering the question. Therefore, you know this, the 3 dots mean therefore. Therefore, the numbers are 22 and 25. That's how you do this. Okay, now I'm going to talk you through a couple of other questions.